Sane people are going, I can't handle it, I can't work, it's terrible, the people are idiots. Yeah, but that didn't happen last year, that didn't happen 2 months you know, 2 months ago. You are seeing the symptom, not the cause. You're seeing the symptom of an immensely long, phenomenally detailed and interesting and complex. What was Soviet Russia? You can sum up the whole gig. Experiment. Social experimentation. Meaning you split hairs as to whether it was a Darwinian experimentation or an Orwellian Darwin, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's an experiment in how to control human beings who very easily were controlled. Oh my goodness, 33 people are shot dead. Everybody is just tripping over themselves with awe and amazement and anger and frustration. Let me see, what else is going on in the world right now? What else has been going on since 2001? Let me see, what's happening in Iraq or Iran right now? Can we ask a question about that? What was going on during the previous George Bush? Was there a thing called Desert Storm in which millions of people were killed? Children were wiped out, incinerated? In Panama, were people not burned to death with lasers and incinerated in their own cars? Completely innocent people. Then we have Grenada before that. Grenada. There you have, you know, where do we stop? How many wars do we need? But your children die. Of course it's horrible. But can we have some context here? Can we have some sanity here? That just because your little pathetic, mediocre lifestyle has now been shaken up by something you don't understand, that's the only violence you think it exists in this world? Somebody has to be wielding, you know, a 38 on your own street, in your own backyard, before you realize that there's such a thing as violence in the world? I'm here to tell you that all of that kind of violence, including the genocide, including the mega death, chew on this, that all of that, all through history, is a tiny aspect of the violence that exists in the world. That's the stuff you can see with your 5 senses. But as any competent psychologist will tell you, that is a very small, sadly, that is a symptom. That's what that is. That's an outpouring and outletting, a playing out in the world. Obviously helped and assisted by those who would like to have chaos rule in the world, yes. But where is its roots? You're going to keep studying the, you know, leaf? You're going to keep studying the bloom and not ask where the root is? Or we'll have a wonderful society tomorrow where they'll be able to prune that really easily. And we won't have any of that violence because, in fact, we'll have a new world order. The chaos out of control. Everything's in chaos. People killing themselves. And we have a perfect structure now that will always deal with that. But will the root be ever looked at? If the root is not looked at, I don't care what kind of order or system is involved in the world of man that, you know, prunes that or, you know, keeps that nicely culled or caged or whatever. I happen to know that the root is twofold. The root of all of this mayhem, chaos and destruction and immorality is actually a twofold root. One root is in man's inability to look at his dark emotions, which is a psychological look at this.
What are you looking at? Huh?
And the other root is in the fact that there is an agency working in the world to engender that. Now, luckily in the conspiracy movement today, what's jokingly called the conspiracy movement, or I prefer to call it the alternative research community, we have now authors and people from all walks of life who are investigating that fact, that second root. That we think that this is not by chance. We don't really think that man is that immoral. We don't really think that man of his own nature will run around, you know, fighting wars and building napalm bombs and all of that. You know, so maybe there's something else going on. Finally, the human race is waking up to the fact that yes, that's right. You know, somebody has kick-started this and maintains it through the perpetuation of people's false allegiances and all the rest of it. And I'm very happy and glad to see that taking place, this removing of the lid, which is astrologically connected to Pluto, the planet Pluto, or the archetype Pluto, or the New Age. The real truth about the New Age is that the revelations that arise because man gets sharper in his critical ability and starts to look beneath the surface of reality. That's great. What I'd really like to see, though, and what I'm hoping to very much help pioneer in this era, is more attention on the first root as well, which is that human beings need to examine their own private consciousness to understand some of the dynamics of the full psyche, not just the ego and not just the programmed brain self, because the brain is a machine programmed by the world. But then you also come in with a thing called the mind, which has been programmed over millennia or generations. People need to know about the tripartite division or schemata of the ego, of the brain, of consciousness, from the Freudian point of view. They should also find out about the quaternity schemata of Jung. It was a little bit similar to Freud, but a little bit different. These people have, understood the dynamics, the anatomy of something that you can't see, consciousness. People know about the body. You got 2 arms, you got 2 legs, you got 1 head. Okay, well then what is the anatomy of your consciousness? Anybody ever thought about that? Well, yes, somebody did. It's called Sigmund Freud. People need to pick up his books, get on the web and find out what is the anatomy of your consciousness. What is thinking? How do you think? What is thinking? How does that happen? What is thought? Who's thinking about thought? Because if you don't ask these questions, you're not going to have too much of an understanding of what might be spirit or all of that. You're looking for the spiritual, but if you don't know what you are, how can you ever find out the other? So the real journey now begins. All of these traumas and tragedies are in a way a catalyst. Sad but true that man has to learn through tragedy, but then, hey, wait a minute, even the Greeks knew that as far back as you go, if man is left without tragedy, he'll just sit on his ass and do nothing all day long. He will sun himself and he will take care of his narcissistic, personal, sensationalistic needs, and nothing of any other thing will cross his mind ever. So unfortunately, the universe, nature, whatever you want to call it, fate, has to sort of deliver man what we would call tragedy, and therefore it wakes him up. It's a catalyst to him looking at deeper things. This is very, very necessary. And one of those areas now is that he needs to really continue the investigation of his own thinking, his own consciousness, and realize that the secrets, that's where the secrets lie.
One thing is sure, a great change of our psychological attitude is imminent. That is certain.
Why?
Because we need more. We need more psychology. We need more understanding of human nature, because the only real danger that exists is man himself. He is the great danger. And we are pitifully unaware of it. We know nothing of man, far too little. His psyche should be studied, because we are the origin of all coming evil.
And never forgetting also that there is this other unseen hand that knows absolutely what consciousness is. who are experts in that fact. You're walking around couldn't care less. You're waiting for the next movie to come out and the next fashion and all that, what Hollywood's going to do next. But there's people there who have a thorough understanding of human consciousness, human psyche, human libido, and they're working on it 24/7 to feather their own nests and also to keep man in servitude, man whom they think is their creation. They think of man as just being one of their own, you know, like somebody treats a pet. If you actually watch how people mostly treat their pets, you know, when you really watch it, you'll find that the pet is a slave. Well, we have people ruling this society who think of human beings as pets and slaves. Yeah, they provide you with some food and they take you for a walk now and again, you know, but they basically you are a pet and you'll be told where to sit and where to go and what to do. That should be obvious to people by now. But these individuals don't really have any fear of us. Well, they do have fear of us to the extent that they know if we were awakened what we could do.
I'm deeply troubled that a very vague, emotionally stated, semi-theologically defined diagnosis of the central global menace is obscuring our national ability to comprehend the historically unprecedented challenge which is being posed in our time by a massive global political awakening, and thus is obstructing our ability to deal effectively with the global political turmoil that this awakening is generating.
So their motive of why they would want to dumb down people is also highly practical. Remember, these people are very, very practical. They may be evil, but they're also very practical. They know that you don't want a mass of intelligent, free-thinking, self-aware, proactive, deeply concerned, spiritually empowered people. That's the worst threat that they can imagine. So it's very practical for them to keep people, you know, what do they call it? One leash for one neck. Everybody in a complete sense of consent, with the illusion that they're independent. It doesn't work without that.
Like a unanimous majority.
Exactly, that's what's worrying me. Very bad for morale. Some of these good people don't seem to appreciate the value of free elections. They think it's a game.
Everyone votes for a dictator.
Not at all. It's just that their resistance is low. Frankly, my dear fellow, you are just the sort of candidate we need.
There's recently a lack of opposition in the matter of free elections. This is not good for our community and reflects an acceptance of things as they are.